Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of I Never Knew But My Dog Did podcast. I am your hostess, Maureen Scanlon, or Life Coach Maureen, as you all know me by. Here at I Never Knew But My Dog Did, we are all about people and puppies. And my guest today is no exception. In fact, I searched him out and I searched him out just by seeing him on Facebook. We are friends, but we had never really touched base. And so I was so excited to reach out to him and be like, hey, you're my people. Please be on my podcast. And he gracefully accepted. And we've been talking for quite a while offline. And I thought, holy cow, this is going to be a fun one. So let me tell you about today's guest. Today's guest is Sean Hoy. He is hilarious, first of all. And he is a Phoenix-based cartoonist, and he turned sticker-toonist, which I love. And he goes by Sean HOYLARIOUS Hoy. He believes that we all should live with a purpose. That's a pun. Or some may say live our purpose, which is truly embedded within us all. Through Sean's struggles of addiction and alcoholism, being raised in a volatile home, ruled by a bipolar yet sometimes caring father, and the blessing of a recent diagnosis of ADHD, he joined the club. Welcome. He has made it his conscious mission to continue his lifelong mission of creating moments of happiness, hope, and positivity through his stickers and comedy. He also has self-published several books, 10 cartoon books, including a book called HOYLARIOUS Dog Cartoons. And now that's HOYLARIOUS. And he's working on the Hair of the Dog cartoon book. So without further ado, welcome to my brother from another mother, Mr. Sean Hoy. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing good. I love that term you use. I have been searching and searching him. It's like, bam, and you found me. That's not easy. I hide a lot, even though I never know what bill I did pay and what bill I didn't pay. No, but I thank you. It's a wonderful intro, and I'm so excited.
Yes, hiding in plain sight. No, people need to pay more attention to the people that they friend on Facebook, because I do have like 40 or over 4,000 friends on Facebook, close friends, of course, over 4,000.
Of course, they all are.
These are the opportunities if you really just reach out to a stranger and just say, hey, I love what you're doing. I like who you are as a person. So let's start off, because this is I Never Knew But My Dog Did. We always talk about the knee story. And the knee story is what was the moment that you were on your knees in life and you said, oh my gosh, something's got to change. I can't do this anymore. What's my purpose? And how do I get out of where I am and where I want to be? So tell us about those struggles with your addiction and alcoholism.
Gosh, I've been fortunate because when we talk about purpose, it's been innate in me, and I've lived my purpose is a good pun. I love the pun. But I've lived it all my life. I truly have. I can say that. I've got report cards from like the second grade, third grade that say Sean wastes too much time trying to be funny and drawing cartoons. So, but it's been like natural for me, and I love just giving. I mean, I would sell maybe a cartoon sheet for 5 cents, but I would give of everything. We used to do seances in the library, like in 5th grade, trying to raise my buddy's dead gerbil, and of course, librarian, we just can't do that. And I'm like, well, no, you can do this. I was always that kid that would get a lot of trouble, but it was kind of like we have like if we had a substitute, I'd be like, we don't have to be here, you guys. And they'd be like, what? And so I'd always encourage the kid that would leave first, you know what I mean? So I had a great time doing that sort of thing. And I've been blessed too with being this way. And I have, obviously, you said, recently diagnosed, but having the ADHD, I've had these superpowers that I never knew of, which now in hindsight, I have a twin brother as well, which you and I didn't discuss this. And we're so opposite. And currently, and we can delve into this later, we currently don't talk like right now, but I think there's so much resentment. And now that I'm really realizing this ADHD thing, and really going, oh, wow, okay, there's other attributes to it. It drove him crazy. Like I can see that because I was always the hey da 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 da, I literally wouldn't study but get good grades. He didn't do well, so I don't want to go down that road, totally. But it was really interesting. So, we did that. We were Irish Catholics. We went to church. We did all that, and probably around the age of 13 is when we were introduced. Even though my father drank, through our lives and whatever. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I'm getting to the point. Is that I started drinking when I was 13. And I'm telling you one thing, like when I did start, I would black out and not remember some things. But before that like 13, 14, I mean, even my dad would go like, shoot, if you guys go get alcohol, drop us off. We didn't even think about that. But there was this euphoric time, like a half hour when I did drink, that I felt normal.
Yeah.
I really did. Like, oh, this is how other people feel. Like I had this euphoric feeling of, yeah. So yeah. Should I keep continuing? I mean, I don't want to like.
No,
I'll talk, but I want you to interject if you want to.
No, I love that. I love that. And you'll see me like jotting stuff off to the side because I like to revisit. And because of my psychology, infinity and background as a life coach, you know what? We all have addictions, and we all have addictions because of what you just said. And I think that is such a key point. And I think every listener can relate to that, whether it's cigarettes or alcohol or overeating, or some people are fitness addicts. I mean, it's finding this thing that makes us feel better because we haven't quite figured out how to internally make ourselves feel better, or just accept that that's who we are. I remember when I got my ADHD diagnosis, and I was determined not to use it as an excuse for what I did, but it was sort of, and I think everyone also mental health wise, when we get these diagnoses, we sort of feel like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm not weird.
Right.
I'm not alone. Now that's what people tend to do is when they do get those diagnoses, then they say, well, it's because I act this way because of my ADHD, or like my son was diagnosed ADHD as well, when he was younger, and now my middle daughter also. So, but he would make these excuses. Well, mom, it's my ADHD. And I would look at him and say, oh, no, 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 we're not doing that. This is not a crutch for you to make an excuse for your behavior. You actually just know you have to work a little bit harder. But you're right. It puts a little bit of the puzzle pieces together for us that gives ourselves more grace. I think that we do things a little different. We call it neurodivergence now, fancy name for we're multitaskers. We are scattered. We do not focus. We don't have great focus power. So now that you got your diagnosis, and so recently, only a couple of weeks ago, how has this clarified things for you? And what are you doing to really understand it, to understand yourself better?
Well, and I think that's, and going back to a little bit, just to finish the little snippet deal, in regards to, so I drank, and okay, the euphoric feeling came, and I would feel good. Of course, I literally was not whatever biochemical thing. There's other factors going on. Like other people didn't black out all the time, and I did. And I was like, and I asked my dad, and he's like, no, we're just Irish Catholics. Like literally, he would say that. And so I drank, had 4 DUIs. But when I drank, I mean, people liked me. Like I had enough charisma and whatnot. I could get away with so much. And the impulsiveness would blend with the alcohol, but yet it would blend with, and so it'd be like, oh, Hoy will do that. But I wasn't that kid, the guy that would be like, oh, let's go drive a motorcycle. You know what I mean? It was kind of, so I was like, well, I don't do that. I'm reckless, but I'm not that reckless. I go and you meet women and do all that stuff. And it's just, anyway, so we progressed forward, and I would do comedy, but I would never drink before I would do comedy or anything that I had to do. And so people, they joked again with the ADHD thing through my life, but nobody ever was like, you for sure have that. It's just like, how do you got great grades, you do all these things, you show up on time, you know your lines. And so, yeah. But then after my last DUI, that was 2007, July 6, 2007, they took my buddy's car, because that's another thing with my deal is my financial situation. I'd be like, Hey, I don't need to, I'd make money. Let's go to Vegas. Credit card. Wait, what? You know what I mean? You have to pay these things off. It's crazy.
Yeah. One addiction leads to another. Yeah, that.
Oh my God. So I was married and I was married. This is not funny and she'll kill me, but we're still friends. I was married and my ex-wife, Chrissy, she's great. But so we bought a house. We did all that. And I have a son, Ethan, who's freaking great, dude. And so anyway, so we got divorced because I was still going through my stuff, still drinking, still doing stuff. I would quit for like 6 months, not, but still making some money here and there. And then we did get divorced. And then I left there with a car that was paid for, and then like an 850 credit score or something. I didn't even know what credit was. Yeah. And so I went to the bank. I'm like, oh, what can I get? And the other guy goes, dude, you could get like a $10,000 thing. And I was like, what? And then literally went to Vegas. Like literally, I'm not saying anyway. So all these things that have happened. And so I'm slowly, and this is like in the last 6 months of, like you said, now I'm going back with all these things and people that I've, hurt in some ways and been impulsive, and not blaming it on the ADHD, not blaming it on the alcohol, not blaming it. And I've accepted, you and I talked about that a little bit, Maureen, about who I am at this age, to go, God, like I used to really like myself before, but now I love myself and I embrace the deal. And so I wear the ADHD badge with these superpowers as who else is out there? Like I only mention it to people just because to say, hey, are you like I am? Like I want to help with these coping. So how I've coped is I go exercise, I work out, I go and talk to people and do these things. And anyway, hopefully this comes all the way around about that. It's been like a freaking blessing. And, we've talked about my brother and my twin brother and I. And so there was this resentment. And now we don't talk right now currently, but I can go, God, you know what? I wasn't like a total jerk. I didn't like steal money and borrow this and this from him and didn't give it back. Years of this guy Sean being this like flamboyant guy getting away with stuff with his ADHD because he had no impulsive things. I could see how that could drive him crazy, and I haven't taken the time yet to really sit down with him and talk, and we will eventually. But it's opened so many neat doors of just stuff I've done and not beating myself up. And I'm like, oh wow, like I love this. And we'll talk about the stickery thing, but it's just like I just love giving of me, and now it's more pure, if that makes sense. It's not a show. It's not a show. It's like, that's who, like, dude, that's who you are. Like, and then that goes back to the dogs, just watching my dogs. Like, yeah, Grayson's got a personality, and then Cricket's got a personality. It's two, 110-pound Roddy Pitt mixes, and they can be jerks, but it's like, they do whatever they want. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've always been a dog fan, and I just love, the way they live, and watching them is like, I want to be like a dog. I want to come back as a dog. I want to be a puppy.
That's just it. That's one of the reasons that I wrote the books and why everything I do is surrounding the dogs. And I love the fact that dogs actually are like that, like you said, innate. They're that innate soul that we want to be, where we don't care about people thing. We do what we want to do. We want to take a nap when we want. We want to chase our tails when we want. We want to sniff someone else's butt. We want, we're going to do what we want when we want it. And that's what I love about the dogs. But what I love that you said is you have superpowers. And this is something like in my coaching that I am so all about, that I don't know if other life coaches do it. And to be frank, I really don't care what other coaches do, because we all have a different way of doing it. And we are matched with the people that need to be there. But one of the things that I always emphasize is, let's stop focusing on what you suck at and let's start focusing on what you're great at. And that was the thing about having ADHD, or I don't even use the title or the diagnosis anymore. I just call it my focus issues. And I've coached many ADHD people where all we have to do, like anything in life, is find the thing that works best for us in this scenario, right? So
right.
Whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's PTSD, whatever it is, even OCD, I definitely have some OCD, but what I've learned is we just have to find ways to make it work for us and not against us, and quit using a mindset of well, this is really bad. I'm terrible at focusing. I might as well not even sit down at the computer because I can't focus. It's using those skills. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm huge on mantras. Mantras meaning repeat something to yourself. With
Right.
focus issues, with my focus issues, when I know I have a lot of stuff to do, but then I keep squirreling, which is one of the terms for ADHD,
I love squirrels.
is we're off here, we're off over here, and oh shoot, I was supposed to do that. So for me, my mantra is hocus pocus focus, Maureen. And it's my way of reminding myself, before you do anything else, can you please sit down and get this thing finished? And it's breaking it up in chunks. As my
Yeah.
son with ADHD has said, Mom, just take bites of the hippo, don't eat the whole hippo. And I just think it's the cutest thing that he used to describe how we think. It's overwhelming. If we see the hippo, we're like, I'm not going to do any of it. I'm not even going to take a bite. I'm just going, oh, I can't do it. I'm going to run from the
Right.
hippo.
Yep.
It's
Uh-huh.
it's taking those bites. And I remember I was married to an alcoholic husband. And when my son would go for visitation, that his dad was anti-medication for my son. And I just actually had a guest yesterday where we talked about cannabis for ADHD and then the
Yeah.
benefits, because my son was on Vyvanse. And everybody has a choice to choose if medication works for them or not. However it works, again, find the tool and the coping mechanism that works. But for my son, he wouldn't get this medication, and we weren't into cannabis or anything when he's 7, obviously. But I remember him finally at 10, I think he was a little bit older, maybe 11 or 12, finally standing up to his father and saying, Dad, I need my medication. Because he'd come home crazy at the end of the weekend. And I'd be like, oh my God, you're bouncing off the wall. What happened?
Right.
I
Oh,
didn't take my medicine. And so he said to his father, he described it as, Dad, I have to take my medicine. Otherwise, my mind is in fast forward. And I thought, brilliant. My son is brilliant, because
yeah.
if anyone who isn't familiar with focus issues, that's how we describe. Imagine your mind, listeners. If you have anyone in your life with ADHD or ADD, which there really isn't ADD, it's all ADHD. But imagine you're trying to sit down and read a book and you're thinking about 5 chapters from now. You're not going to be able to focus on the story or the page or even the paragraph or sentence in front of you. That's kind of how life is for those of us with focus issues. And my son describing that, it really was, I thought that wraps it up. That just sums it up, where we just can't slow down. So the mantra thing, the tools that I've helped, sticky notes. I'm a huge advocate for sticky notes. So tell me some of the tools
Yeah.
that you're using and coping skills that you're using.
I've developed these coping skills. Being with people and what I do has really helped. And I'm going to go a little back to, and one of my other belief systems is that the school system, even government, all that stuff, not that I'm Mr. Anti everything, burn it down, is that, well, but seriously, people cram us into these little boxes and want to change. I don't know, I think the guy's name is Osho or Oso, I don't know, the philosopher, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but we unlearn so much at birth. And to me, there's so many like innate awesome things that we have. And in society, all of us know, and people that are listening, is that it's like, no, you got to cram into this, you got to cram into that. So one of my coping skills was that I was pretty clever enough to know the rules before I broke them. Like, that was, so now looking back at the coping things, I had it good because I was pretty swift kid. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I got all these things done. That's all right. And then people would call my dad, like literally in high school and in grade school, and go, I don't know. I think I was throwing spitballs at one guy, and my dad would wake me up, like he was a drinker. He'd wake up me up like at midnight, and he'd be like, "Hey, I talked to your teacher today." And I was like, "Yeah, what happened?" And he's like, and but I have good, and I'm like, whatever. He goes, "Well, you got like an A in the class, but were you throwing spitballs at your friend Carl while he's doing a speech?" And I said, Dad, I was not throwing spitballs. And he's like, "The teacher said you were throwing spitballs." And I go, what? And so my dad goes, "Yeah," and I go, "What? No, I was not. I didn't throw any spitballs. I don't think that's right." And then he goes, "Well, what'd you do?" And I go, "I was flicking them." And he goes, "What?" I go, no, I was flicking them off my knee, but I wouldn't throw them at somebody. That could hurt them, like, but I would do those little twisty things. And it sounds like really mild in its way, but it was like, oh, and weirdly enough, he was like, okay, like you almost won that debate with him. Like, oh, okay, well, I called you off on the wrong thing. So anyway, I learned how to manipulate people. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but that's how I really would learn to use that charm and use that humor, the energy that I had, like, oh, I'll do it, like, oh, Sean, you didn't do this, but I'll go clean up every piece of garbage on the, or I would have recruit other kids, like use my charisma to go, hey guys, let's clean everything up. And then I would get away with that. And then I played soccer and sports. So running has helped me immensely, and working out. It's just that, the dopamine, and that's just, and I'm a creative person. So I literally sometimes, if I love to ink my cartoons, and there's a whole process, but if I can't like ink at night, I'll be so excited in the morning to get up and do like the things that we love to do. And I've slowly, going off your words, is that I've learned the things that I cannot do, sometimes by default, obviously, and a lot of times by, just going like, this works, this doesn't. And so I'm charismatic, I'm not the ugliest guy in the world. So people are like, hey, you used to do sales, you should do this and that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, what do this is sure. So I'd have a job. I mean, I've had probably like 38 different jobs. And when we were married, my ex-wife had no clue like what ADHD was. It was interesting. So she was so much on the other side.
Yeah.
So she's like, every times when I would have a gig, and then I wouldn't have it for a while, so I'd get a job, and I go to be sitting in a cubicle, and then she'd go do something, then come home, and I'd be home. She's like, aren't you at work? And I go, no, oh, God, it was so freaking boring. She goes, you can't just leave jobs. And I was like, I cannot. Like, that's my kryptonite, boredom. Christy, they want me to sit there and read them some stupid book. So anyway, I just learned like I can't do those. And that's why I slipped more into hospitality. I started bartending, like,
yeah,
always something new people. I worked at the Four Seasons for 4 years while I was doing my art and comedy and stuff. And it was interesting because I'm telling you, like, now I regret it, but it was the best job I could ever have. I painted murals when they redid the bar. They let me, like, Sean, you can do margarita demos. You get paid this. You work 3 to 4 days a week. The shifts are only maybe max 6 hours. It's in the daytime. And I'm telling you, Maureen, I loved it. I was like, that's when and so interestingly enough, my last DUI was July 6th, July, whatever. And then I got that job, or I think I was still working there. It changed my life, not drinking and having that job. And to say all this, me with ADHD, I didn't realize all these other things I had done. I quit that job 4 years later, which, I mean, I was making good money and doing it, and I left on great terms. Like, are you serious? Am I could leave? I got bored. I got bored with the people, and it was like a job that people would literally give their. I mean, I'm saying, it was really interesting, and so hopefully I'm answering your question.
No, that's great. That's great.
Yes, it was crazy. Yeah, and I went from, and so I think that's kind of the change point of my life per se, is that I'm answering a little bit of the drinking thing. When I did stop drinking, my mind became more focused, but I was still had the ADHD thing that I didn't really realize. So I was still doing these impulsive things, and it wasn't the alcohol. I was just doing other things. And then this job just helped me like realize, but still quitting that job, which they wanted me to stay and make it great. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be, a movie star. I'm going to go and paint the world. And I went and did awesome things, but I realized too that I'm great at everything. I always need somebody to help me. Like, I've never had that other person in relationships, of course, but like a business partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never had that, and they don't understand me. They'll be like, well, why can't you just do the spreadsheet and do this? I'm like, let me go meet people. If you can just plug that in. I've burned so many bridges with trying for people just to be like, you're so freaking smart. You do it all. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, well, they gave me $2,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll invest in you. I'm like, what are you investing in? I don't need the money. I do need the money. I need the opposite of me. You know what I mean? Almost like I'm but everybody. And when we go to bars, you'll talk to everybody. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't pay. Like, anyway, I'm going off on 5 tangents because that's what I do.
I think that's really important, though. is that ikigai. It's what am I good at? What can I get paid at? And what am I passionate about? And what you were looking for was someone to keep you accountable. And if we don't have accountability partners when we have these types of distraction issues and focus issues, we will get bored and we'll want to do different things. It's finding that healthy outlet. Running, like you said, my
Yeah.
son my son, we had a punching bag and he was a longboarder. And I would be like, dude, go do something, go create something, go get that energy out, because it's that hyperactivity part of it where we need change. I get stagnant and
Yes.
it affects my brain so bad where it's like, when you get stagnant as an ADHD person, you're like, life sucks, everything's bad. What's going on? I need to do a complete flip over. And for me, I found that doing creative outlets. I mean, my poor husband, because I'm creative, I've done many houses. I made like 35 of them in 1 year. I did furniture refurbishing, and oh my God, when we went to move here to Texas, we had a whole storage room full of it. I was giving it away. I mean, I need to do a crafty, I scrapbook. I have to do a crafty thing like you and your stickers. So it is just finding the tools that work for you. And we're all going to be so completely different at it. But it's the premise and the bottom line is find what works for you. If this is not working, keep going, keep trying. And that's in anything in life, whether you're ADHD or, whether it's anxiety or anything in life, but getting rid of those addictions that are falsely filling that need that you have is where we run into trouble, because drugs are never going to give you that completion of who you are. The alcohol is never going to, overeating, none of that is going to fulfill you. It's a temporary fix that
Yeah.
can grow into a problem, because then it's now controlling you, because your mind says, this is the thing that brings me happiness. Instead of understanding there's other things that can bring you happiness, you just have to seek them. So,
Right. And be conscientious. And so my story as well is that my father died of cirrhosis at 62.
oh my goodness.
So, but he was in denial of anything, and I keep saying, I don't mean to, I'm working on that. But the crazy thing is I kept drinking, and cirrhosis is a terrible disease. I never thought about it because there's that, and also we have that embedded things in our heads of what our parents do. Because my dad's always, oh, we're Irish Catholic, we always drink. This is what we do. There was never. I even sat on his hospital bed, and I was like, I think I have a drinking problem. No, not really. My twin brother who drinks, but he didn't have a drinking problem. Like, it was crazy how my metabolism, whatever it was, is we were so opposite. And it took me years just to realize, like, wow, it's just not worth it. And yet I don't mind serving alcohol to people. Like, I bartend and do things. I went cold turkey. I didn't do the AA thing. I was just like, this, like you had just said, this does not work. You're a great person. You do some great things, but this is not working. And it was even crazier that I segued slowly up to the point now, 16 years later, whatever it is, that I'm this person now that I love, and the alcohol, not drinking, helped, but then doing these other coping things and realizing, like, oh, I'm a pretty good dude. And now I just love to spread that message to go, no, we're all freaking good dudes. Society, and I am one of those people, I don't know if the government's listening now, but I just still, even after being sober, I mean, I didn't file like taxes for 7 years. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, why? What are they going to do to you? People, my friends are like shaking that are accountants, like, they're going to come get you. And then, it's just all these things. And I still had that. I don't use the word deviant, but impulsive or going against society. More like, what's the use of it? You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
Oh,
really crazy. Like, I
absolutely.
done like some crazy stuff that people look at me and going, God, he's a nutball. But I almost controlled crazy. And I don't know. It's just kind of cool now to look back and now having this alcohol stuff and things, I've helped a lot of people, even through the Facebook and whatnot. It's surprising. Every year I always say it's been another year, and I have people reach out, and I'll go talk to people and tell them like what my thing is, or call. And I've got a friend, she was drinking, and she's like, I don't know, this is my daughter, I love her so much. And I'm like, well, you love alcohol. I'm really in people's faces, like, come on, just like, be honest. I was honest with myself. Like, that's one of the keys as well with this thing. I don't care if you are diagnosed or not, but regardless, like be honest with yourself. And as soon as you do that, you're like, damn it, I am pretty good. Like I can help people, but people lie to themselves constantly because they're taught to lie.
Yeah.
Like when you're in school, you're like, this is what you get, these grades is what you do. And you're taught to basically lie to yourself and crush your own little self into to be uniform, like
Well,
conform to the masses.
I really believe we're conditioned to, and this is gonna go. I love that you put on your bio. You're like, am I getting deep? And I'm like, you can never get too deep for me. Trust me,
Bam.
because the things that I realize with my codependent behavior and being in a domestic violence relationship with an alcoholic, and even continuing friendships and more relationships with men for years and years, it was that conditioning that I was given. Like you said, you come here as a newborn and you've got everything you need, yet the people who are taking care of you are undoing all of that and reprogramming new shit in there that they need. You ever think about that? So it's like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
we're going to program into you the things that I failed at or the things that I wanted in life. And I did it with my children. I mean, I definitely was trying to correct my parents' mistakes, but then also, having them fulfill the things that I didn't fulfill in myself. And so here we are, cycle after cycle, ancestral shit that we keep carrying on until we don't. And the only solution to stopping that is just that self-awareness to say, I'm only responsible for me, how I think, how I behave, how I speak. And then you don't put the burden on your children, and then you don't carry the burden of your parents. How is that for deep, Mr. Sean?
Oh no, love it, love it, love it. And that's, I think, again, unlearned or not learned, or maybe even naivety that people are not taught this, but the brain, the neuroplasticity of our brains, we can change it. And we can change it in a second. And it sounds really way too it's almost too simplistic. Like the past. That's one thing I've been working on even the last 6-7 months or even is this like, stop like thinking about the past and doing that. And I'm telling you, the gift, giving myself sobriety was one of the best gifts. This new gift I've given myself is living in the now and just being like that attitude friendly. And yeah, of course I'm gonna get down and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's that, and it's neat talking to people like, you can't do that. You can't. It's like, guys, I know the tax thing. I should have paid my taxes, and I finally did. But actually, I got money back. But don't go out and do that, kids. But the point is like we have such control over so much that we can do and not do. It's innate in us to be good people. That's the other thing. People are like, oh, society, everybody hates you. I'm like, no. 99% of the people are awesome. Awesome people. I mean, I've watched shows where there's guys, like a little guy driving a rickshaw in like India, and they interviewed him, and it's like this happiness thing, who's had the happiest in the world. And I don't know if you've seen that. It's a great video. And he's like was voted the happiest. He's got 14 kids. His little roof is leaking, and he drives a rickshaw for 14 hours a day. And he goes, I've got my family. Like that is what I've got. I'm happy. You don't need all the other things. And so I was blessed as well with my girlfriend, who we went to high school together. We've dated now for 15 years, and she's a therapist. So, but it was interesting. No, it's interesting to say this because she's great. I mean, she's really awesome, really brainy and stuff. We didn't date in high school. We knew each other, and we did it. But it was interesting because talking about previous women after I was married, dating them, and it was like, when I was drinking, like, oh my gosh, party, stay out the pool all day. It's these type of women. I mean, nice, but they were like stuck on themselves. They had nothing going, which because they needed to change too. God bless their souls. And until I met Charla, who really got me, like she was the one who maybe probably nudged a little bit of the ADHD, the this and this and that, giving me books. We started reading ACEs. Are you familiar with? What is it? What is ACEs? Childhood experiences, altered childhood experiences. It's like things that have happened in your life. PTSD, alcoholism. It was really neat. So I started reading things and going to like things that she was like, and it opened my eyes. But she was accepting of me.
Yeah.
And it was really neat because she got it. And she's not a drinker. She wasn't so we paired up at the right time, and it's been neat because she encouraged, like, go get it. Like, if you need to take medicine, then you need to do it. Like, it's really interesting, but never pushing. Like, she never, Yeah, it's been neat. I've
No,
been
she let
highly,
you.
highly blessed. Yeah,
Yes.
let me be me as well. Yeah,
That's I love that so much because I do believe so much in the law of attraction, and you're going to attract at the level that you're at. And so when you were in your alcohol party phase, of course you're going to attract the same people, party alcoholics.
right,
And when you really have sort of healed some of those broken pieces, or those pieces that were learned that weren't unlearned, that your mind said, hey, this brings me joy, then what I think is, I did the same thing. I met my husband. He completely was different from anyone I had ever dated, because I did this 2-year process of saying, whatever you're doing, Maureen, is not working. These narcissistic people, and you being codependent and giving everything that you are and not getting that love in return, you're gonna. And I used to tell people, if you don't heal yourself, you're gonna meet the same person with a different face every time, until you fix what is going on in you, that you're seeking this void. Seeking it in someone else will never work for you. So I love that when you meet the right person at the right time, they're going to challenge you, but they're going to unconditionally love you through it. And that is what you have now, because you healed and you love yourself. Then you meet someone who loves you unconditionally, but also is going to challenge you to continue to be a better person and raise your vibration even more. And
right.
I love that. And to feel accepted. We're never, it's like in life coaching, I always tell people, it's not what you're saying, it's your delivery. If I, as a life coach, said, Sean, you're such a loser. You've been a loser your whole life. We need to fix you being a loser. I lost you back with Sean, you're a loser, because how is that going to get you to change? And I told you this off air. The first thing I say to people is, do you know how amazing you are? Whoa, I've got your attention now. That's when
Yeah,
change happens, is when you feel loved the most and accepted the most. That's all we want as humans, is love and acceptance. That
yeah. And that's, again, I'm going back to this little thing of the stickers. People, and again, you give somebody something and they love it. And again, it's not the prize, it is the gift in what you're giving, but people aren't told enough, or not, that we're great, because you turn on TV and it's just like, you gotta, it's all the celebrity stuff and you gotta be this and this and this, which is only like 5% of the world, if that. Second of all, they're not the happiest people in the world, because you see that they're not. But people just, and that's, we can go back and forth, we can talk for 9 hours about the social media thing. It's that I think social media is really awesome in many ways, but then again, it's that line of like, well, why are the Fergusons in Tahiti? Like, what do they do? And you go, and that, I don't know, it's just a slippery slope. But I don't know.
Having
I
what
just,
you love and loving what you have is the
yeah,
balance in life. So as we wrap up,
yeah.
I want our listeners to know where to go get your stickers, and I want them to know that the proceeds for these stickers, you do a lot of really good work for our puppies. So tell us about what your stickers purpose is, your book's purpose is, and
Oh,
what are you doing? What is your goal?
my goal is to, because now this is, and it also, because it's focused. I love my books. I love doing the cartoons. I paint quite a bit. I do these little paintings and stuff. You've probably seen them on the online there at that Facebook. Love the Facebook. It's free. You can download it. Download the app at the App Store. That's my commercial. I don't know why I'm doing commercials for Facebook. I should do it for slushies. Okay. So what my goal is now is to focus on. Now I'm actually looking for employment if anybody's hiring out there. No, I actually have a really good lead. So I've worked with the Architect B, and there's some other groups, and one group is like, knock on wood, I want to jinx it, but they want me to help them be the community liaison for an autistic research group in Phoenix. So anyway, I got the second interview tomorrow, and I'll let you know how that goes. So that's
Yes,
kind of the, so me getting a job is good,
it is.
because beg, borrow, and steal with all that stuff. So on the other side, to answer the question, because we got to wrap this up here, is that my stickers. So the goal of them is to be profitable and sell them, making proceeds to help myself. Hey, yeah, okay, I can buy more stickers. And then B, I do help a lot of groups. So the energy that I go to, like, I mean, I'm talking like Lost Our Home. Are you familiar with Lost Our Home, which is in Phoenix? Arizona Humane Society, I work a lot with them. PAC 99, 9/11. So the goal with these, the proceeds is to go and help, be it like lend my emceeing skills, hand out more stickers, have people. So they're not all dog stickers per se, but it's the groups. And I do donate my times and services to other groups. I'm really hooked with I call them the differently abled groups. The
Love it.
Down syndrome, all those guys. Those are my peeps, man.
You're
So
just a service soul
of everybody. I don't really like just focus on one. Yeah. So
you're
my ultimate goal.
a very diverse service soul, which you just want to help the whole world, and that's sort of your ADHD too. I want to help everybody. So
it sounds so large to say like that my goal is to do that, but that is what I was built for. I was built for, like I say, ever since the second grade, is to make people laugh, make people happy, make people worth something. I was the guy who would go into the lunchroom and the new kid and sit next to him, or somebody that wasn't. I knew everybody in high school, like literally, 1,000, 2,000 people. It's like that was my thing. Not saying I was popular, but I don't want anybody to be. And then once they're okay, they're okay. I don't have to hawk around them. I'm not going to be your best friend. I know that sounds weird, but I'm going to help you, man, get through that. And so my goal is to make these stickers, the HOYLARIOUS stickers, a national, international phenomenon. And then, like I say, I always send, if somebody even orders one, I send them 3. I'm a terrible business person. But to say, smile, stick, and share, go make. The feeling I give that I just gave to you and you got excited about the freaking little sticker. I say little stickers, just I kind of devoid them a little bit just to say, hey, it's the act of it. Go give somebody one of these. Don't just, that's my thing with people. Like they try to hold on to things. I'm going to keep this and keep my money. And it's like, money is just like stickers. It's like air. Just go give it and your more will come. So I don't know. I love it.
I'm gonna give you
7 billion people are gonna get stickers in the world. Everybody is gonna get a sticker.
I love it, and I'm gonna give you an elevator pitch, which is,
oh dear,
I create fun, open doors to connection, and that's what you do. That's that's your elevator pitch. What do you do? I create with my artistic talent stickers that open doors to connecting with people. Boom. Mic drop.
Yes.
Where can they find
Bam.
you? So Facebook, Sean Hoy, SEANHOY.
HOYLARIOUS Studios there. But go to, or they can put Sean Hoy in there. So Facebook, Facebook me, become my friend, and then HOYLARIOUS.com. Go to my website, HOYLARIOUS.com.
All right. HOYLARIOUS.com.
Yeah, you like it?
That's a tongue twister. Holy cow.
You'll get it. So when I did stand-up comedy, that's when I started calling myself HOYLARIOUS. So
I love it. Are your books on there too for purchase?
No, I don't have any books currently printed, and I'm working on that. So they will be there but currently it's just my stickers.
All right, guys.
Remember, I gotta focus.
Let's do it. I love it. I love it. Hocus pocus focus, baby. Hocus pocus focus. So guys, I hope you enjoyed Sean and his high energy as much as I did, because I just adore him. And this is not our last time we'll be speaking and connecting. So go to HOYLARIOUS.com, buy those stickers, buy more than you even need to open those doors to connecting with other people. Hand them out, bring them to your kids' school, whatever means necessary, because it A, goes to a great cause, and B, we want this to just really grow and be this awesome brand that he has created. So Sean, my friend, my brother from another mother, I am so grateful for this hour. You'll never get back, and I hope you don't regret. But I'm just so happy that I reached out and we were able to connect today. And thank you for being on here.
I love it. Thank you. Hello to all the listeners. You guys rock. And Maureen, you rock as well. So we will chat more and more.
Definitely.
That's a warning.
You are not getting rid of me. And you said you were a stalker, and I welcome stalkers. So sweet.
Okay.
All
Very
right. Well,
love
guys,
it.
that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I just really enjoyed him so much. I'm so grateful for all of you who are here, who have subscribed to the podcast, for all of the wonderful reviews that you've left. Share this so we can build this community. It is about just really connecting and saying, "Hey, I've been there too." And it's great information. Share it with your friends and family, anyone that you think would really just enjoy, between the entertainment and the information and the connecting with people that have been where you've been, or people that have been in certain situations. So again, you can find me at lifecoachmaureen.com. Don't forget my books. My dog is more enlightened than I am, and my dog is my relationship coach, as well as my boutique with healthy treats and gifts that our dogs deserve at mydogiseverything.net. So thank you again for listening, everyone, and have a fabulous day. We'll see you next week.